we talk about a whole lot. We blame the church and we blame the schools.
Come on.
Meaning that, and anybody ever, we're not gonna talk about everything we used to do when we wasn't saved, but if we ever graced the clubs, and if a shooting ever happened in the club, we never came out saying the club shot up.
Come on. Amen. Come on now, worker. Come on, talk about that.
We never talk about the club shooting up somebody. We never talk about the schoolhouse fighting somebody.
Amen.
But when it comes to us not obtaining our education or keeping us from God, we can always blame the school or the church house. Now, there is some accountability in that because we are individuals. I've experienced what I thought was the church disappointing me. Even though I grew up in church my entire life, I went through some things, and this is true. This is not made up. There was a pastor who got up talking about things on a certain Sunday, and I was here. I was living here in Indiana at the time, and Pastor Spencer was there, and I texted him and I asked him to go to the back of the church and meet with me. And when I went back there, I told him I did not tell him anything that he was talking about across the pulpit. There was some personal information that he had gotten some access to and decided that it was his right to bring it across the pulpit in the church.
My God.
Needless to say, I was not very happy, and I wasn't worried about church hurt. I was worried about hurting somebody.
Come on, tell it.
All right.
But if you remember when I was here last week, I talked about, I took a different approach sometimes to how to deal with different things. I took the college approach. I just took a W. I just withdrew. I said, I just dropped the class. I'll do it later. So I just withdrew myself quietly from that situation. I didn't go back. Now, I went some other churches and did what I was supposed to do, but that thing followed me. Because I also talked about, if you don't acknowledge what your issues are, all they do, your bag just try to get you wherever else you go.
Amen.
And then if you're athletes, you talk, if you quit easily, you're more likely to do what? Repeat and quit all the time. So it took a little bit before I understood exactly what was going on and what had happened. And it took for me to understand and mature that, you're going to get upset, you're going to get hurt in some places. How do I know? I got hurt at work. I was upset at work. I didn't leave work though.
All right.
Amen. You right about that.
I didn't try to hurt nobody at work.
Come on.
Why didn't I try to hurt them? I needed my job.
That's right.
Come on. Keep it playing.
I had people depending on me. So I said, well, if I can do that then on this job, surely I can take somebody hurt me a little bit. Then I got to really thinking about it. I was like, well, what I should have done, I should have went to that person alone.
Right.
And there's still time for me to go back and do that.
Come on, say it. Look at God.
Because that person is still in this area.
Right, still alive. Do it before they leave.
And there's still time for me to fix that thing.
Yeah.
And only reason I know it's God is because I was sitting in my office on Friday. And this isn't the direction I even wanted to go in, but I was sitting in my office on Friday, and I got a message on a Facebook Messenger. And, sometimes people steal people's faces and they fake accounts and all that stuff. So the person who sent me the message was a high school basketball coach I had, and I had 3 of them in my first 3 years. And the last one I had, I couldn't stand. He looked like me, he talked like me, but he was the exact opposite of me.
Wow.
And needless to say, there are some things that happened on my path that I went from, I had about 10 to 12 schools recruiting me, to having 0 schools recruiting me, and resulted in me having to go to community college for 2 years on a scholarship. And it was not due to my academics. It was not due to any trouble I got into. One of the coaches who finally I signed and went with told me that this particular coach told them that I need to go to junior college. Never told me, never told my family. When I started having some success, he wanted me to come back to his camps and speak and talk. I didn't want to do it. My dad said, you need to go do it, so I went and did that. I coached for him for a year, and I left. And I hadn't talked to him probably since 2006. But when I didn't think about it, I just sent him my number. He called me and he said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great." He said, he even asked me what I was doing. He said, "I want you to know I am so proud of all the things you've accomplished and the person you've become in your life." Okay. I didn't know really what to say about that, but what I thought would be animosity
Hallelujah.
and some tension turned into a good 15-minute conversation.
Come on. Look at God.
And that's just what God will do for you in terms of healing your heart, releasing things to Him, and not worrying about the hurt. Because it's no hurt. You can't hold on to it. Holding on to hurt is what we talked about before, like holding on to grudges and holding on to not forgiving. It will eat you up and tear you down.
Yes, it will.
And I love to laugh too much. I love to enjoy my life, so I can't really get into that. Now, I'm not saying I'll ever be my best buddy, my best friend. But when we have a conversation from here on forth, I'm not bragging on nothing that happened 20-some years ago.
That's right.
And that's the key, being able to move forward. God has blessed me in not just personally and spiritually in terms of that growth. He's blessed me financially. He's blessed me in my heart in terms of wanting to support the things I want to do. Pastor, I said this last week, Sister Spencer had gave a prophesied that the house is yours. And I was sitting there and I wasn't even looking for a home. And I went up to her after service and I said, "I received that. And I've been in my home now for 2 weeks." It's an amazing blessing when you think you're figuring things out. I thought I had figured out what exactly I was going to put down on the home, and they told me it was a different amount. I had to keep a poker face. Because that amount was nothing what I thought I was going to have to put down on the home. And I walked out and I said, "Okay, well, we'll be all right." And I went and spoke to my financial advisor, and I thought I had this amount of money in there. I had substantially more than what I thought I had put in that was there available for me. So I said, "Well, praise the Lord, I can go multiple ways with this," and just went a certain way, worked it out, got in the home. Well, my boss just 2 days ago asked to see me. And God praise is a small area, and I'm the only minority in the office. So if somebody says a tall brown guy did something, I can't look around and say it was somebody else who did something. So he called me to his office, and I didn't think too much about it, and sat down. So I want to talk to you about some things and what's going forth. And he proceeded to tell me that you're getting a substantial raise for 2 years.
Look at God. Look at God. Look at God. Look at God. Come on. Come on. Come on. That's God. Look at it.
And it's nobody but God. Remember last week I told you, at one job, I went from about making $50,000 a year to making $15 an hour, working 40 hours a week, no benefits.
Come on. Come on.
And in a year and a half, I've been in Indiana, I've been blessed more than what I experienced in 10 years and living in another area.
Come on. Come on. There's nobody but God.
Now, I had to withdraw. I withdrew from the course. I had to go back to my first course all over again. But God is meeting me.
Yes.
He's blessing me. And there's more to come because our subject this year is expecting greater
Come
things.
on. Come on.
And
I'm holding on to that.
The greater things I was not looking for was physical and financial. There's some bigger things that I know God's going to do for me this year. That you will never understand, that you'll see me whooping and hollering and crying, but trust me, He is meeting me.
Yes, He is.
And that's what we have to do. We just have to hold on. It doesn't have to be these big physical things. Don't get me wrong, I'm thankful for the opportunity and the blessing to be able to buy a home. I'm thankful for the financial blessing to be able to take care of my family, because I don't know if you know this, if you really want to hurt a real man, you don't have to say nothing to him. Let him not be able to not take care of his family.
That's it, a real man. You're right. You're right, a real man. Yeah, you're right about that.
No words, no nothing can hurt as much as your family needing something and you can't provide it. Your family wanting something and you can't go get it. You working 2-3 jobs just to survive, and yet you got other members of family that got something to say to you. So I thank God for how He's blessed me. I thank God for the leadership here. I just want to encourage everybody, when we come together, Let's not worry about who's not here. We here, that's enough. Because the scripture says only 2 or 3.
Come on, preacher.
There's more than 3 of us here.
Right, come on.
And then all we have to do is just do our ample best, whether it's giving, whether it's the service that things that Karen House asks us to do. We just give our best, and He'll do the multiplying. If He can feed people with what, 5 loaves of bread?
Come on.
How many fish did He have?
2.
2 fish? I think we can do some great things right here in Michigan City. So be encouraged. God bless you.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Come on, y'all, give God a praise. Come on, give God a praise. Amen. That was a powerful testimony. Amen. That was a powerful testimony from these families. Amen. That was a powerful testimony. Amen. Give it to the glory of God. Amen. Let's praise God once again for that. Amen. So we thank God, amen. When the prophetic word comes to pass, amen, we ought to give God praise for doing just that. Amen. And when you receive a prophetic word, allow it to take root. Amen. Just say, Lord, I believe.
Amen.
And you say that, God's going to do what? Do the work. Amen. Amen. So we thank God, amen, for, amen, restoration, how God is restoring, and how God will. It's amazing how God will keep you here to get things right. Isn't that something?
Amen.
Amen. You can go on and on. He'll be blessing you. And then all of a sudden he'll come back and say, you know what? You got to get this right. And he'll give you an opportunity to ask for forgiveness. Amen. So I just thank God, amen, for my family. Amen. I shared a text from my husband, amen, from my older sister. Amen. My husband know our relationship, how it used to be. But it was so amazing how she sent me a text, and I've never gotten a compliment from my sister. And she began to tell me how proud she was of me, and the woman that I was, and the light that I'm sharing. And I didn't know she watches me on Facebook Live and listens to the preached word, and she just began to just say all these things. And I'm like, wow. And when I hugged her, I said, I'm so happy that you're back in our lives and that we're here. And I said, I love you so much. And she said, I truly love you too. And right while I was at the repast, my niece, I found on my phone it says a friend request accepted. Now my niece is over 30 years old. And my children have never seen her, have never met her, because my sister had so much anger and so much hatred in her heart, and about some things that went between our parents, and how she just kept her daughter away. But you know what? All of a sudden she said, I really want to meet you all, and I don't want my mom there, but I want to meet you all. And so I'm so thankful, amen, that soon and very soon, amen, we'll all be together as a family. God knows how to restore families. Come on. Amen. He knows how to do that. And so I'm so thankful, amen, because of that. Amen. I know my great niece, amen, and my niece, I'm so happy. So God is doing the work, isn't He not? Amen. So we love the Lord, amen. And at this time, amen, we're going to, amen, do our welcome, amen, because I do see a guest. Amen, amen. Did anybody get a guest card? Amen. The pastor have that? Amen. And so, amen. Amen. So we just want to know, amen, our guest's name. Amen. Can you give us your name? Jada? All right, so we thank God for Sister Jada being in the house, amen. So we're going to show her some love, amen. Amen. So those that are around her, amen, we'll show her some love, amen. Amen. So glad you're here.